242 on Twitter using the hashtag Sunday Live. And 22422, we have Kipchumba Arap Matuma in it saying it's saddening to hear that the egos of the two most important people, the Cabinet Secretary Health and his PS, are coming in the way of a quick and conclusive end to the protracted health crisis that has seen many Kenyans suffer and lose lives. Such characters should not be anywhere near positions of such great responsibility. They need to shape up or ship out. That story we're getting from our sources at the health ministry, what Kipchumba is talking about. And I'm asking you, is there this serious infighting that is really making it difficult for Kenyans to see a conclusion to this doctor strike?
I think what I've heard today is really news to me, because the strike which is affecting the country is a national strike.
Yes.
And it has nothing to do with personalities. In my view, we have heard this narrative before, where we have negotiated with the union. The union has dug its grounds that it's either the CBA or nothing else.
Right. And
in its totality. We have seen offers being given by government, generous offers, which the union has refused. And as late as when we visited Mombasa, His Excellency was interested in making sure this strike is resolved. And having reached that point where the union refused, I called them and I said, then there's nothing better we can do than to look at this document, the general body of the document, because it's very important we address those issues.
Right.
And we had agreed on many of those issues in Mombasa. So we wanted to go page by page of that document. And in my view, what I'm hearing from the media is not the correct position. The first
there's no problem?
There's no problem. We went through that document up to page 10 with the union.
That is last week? Last week. Okay, the week ending yesterday?
The week ending yesterday.
Right.
And the intention was to finalize the general body by Thursday. And on Friday, I had called a meeting of the Council of Governors to come now, we address the contentious Appendix A. Okay.
The reason why this is being said, first you're saying there's no problem between you and your principal secretary. You're talking about the CBA on Thursday, on Tuesday and on Wednesday last week, 17th and 18th of January.
Correct.
You started the Doctors Union. Like you've said it very clearly. You talked about the CBA. You went through the matters of the CBA.
We went through. We were going through that
close
document.
by close, isn't it?
Close by close.
The principal secretary has said it time and time and again, and he has been very clear that no negotiations will be taken on the basis, or will be undertaken on the basis of that CBA. He does not recognize it at all.
Well, I think the court did not recognize that CBA for two reasons. One is the fact that SRC had not pronounced itself as far as that CBA is concerned. Two, county governments were not involved, because the time we were signing that document, county governments had already come to be and health had been devolved. And the intention was to come up with a document which incorporates both views and also the ministry. And therefore, if there's a stalemate, as it is today, the intention is to make sure that we restore services to Kenyans. Regardless of what we want to do.
So what you're saying, in other words,
we have to do it within the context of the law, because the court did say, go back and negotiate this document.
Right.
And when you negotiate, you come back to the court to register that document. Now, they refused a return to work formula.
The court did not recognize the latest ruling. The court refused to recognize the CBA. I'm asking you a direct question. The principal secretary has said he does not recognize the CBA, and no negotiations will be undertaken on the basis of the CBA. You've gone ahead, you went ahead last week to discuss with the doctors on Wednesday and Thursday, on Tuesday, on the basis of the CBA. Those are two different
I think I wouldn't answer for the principal secretary, but I think the prudent thing to do under the stalemate which we have today is to be able to find every solution possible which we can have to have the doctors resume working.
So in other words,
now what I'm saying is this: in that document, the key contentious issue is the financial implications of that CBA, which offer we have given as a government. And my intention and the intention of those discussions with the union, because we did in Mombasa agree with the general body, but we never documented it. We needed to document that process and then address Appendix A.
I'll come to that. I'm coming to that issue shortly. But what you're saying then, with the Principal Secretary saying he will not recognize the CBA, no talks should be held at the basis of the CBA, what you're saying is that at such times it doesn't matter, you do anything necessary.
To restore services.
So
within the law.
So clearly those are two different positions within the ministry. Fine, we'll proceed. On Tuesday, that is 17th and 18th, Tuesday and Wednesday, first day you spent 6 hours, second day just a little under 6 hours with the doctors union. You talked about several issues, including promotions, doctors' rights, training, and nothing was conclusive really from what we get from the doctors union, except the issue of transfers. You were supposed to come back to them on Thursday. You did not show up again.
I think,
according to the doctors union, they were waiting for you on Thursday to come back and continue with the negotiations. You have not seen them.
The simple thing, what happened, the first day we did a lot of ground. We covered a lot of ground, and we agreed on many issues. The following day, we went through the minutes of the previous day, just to confirm the position has been documented appropriately. What happened is that the union began to negate on some of the issues we had agreed the previous day. And I want to say here that when you are negotiating, the parties must abide by what you have discussed around the table. In my view, there seems to be advisors. The union walks out of a discussion and comes back with a different view. Now, my view is that when you are negotiating, you bring all your people to the table. And when you agree in a position, you do not negate. One, we had agreed no picketing for the period we are going to be discussing. We have seen picketing coming back. Two, we had said we want joint press conferences on any issues we have agreed upon. The following day, they were issuing press conferences without reference to the other party. So, therefore, the point of departure has nothing to do with any suggestion which you are having. When they started negating on issues we have agreed, it became clear that the union is having side meetings. I don't know with who, to change the position.
That is why you decided not to come back again to the table.
That's why I decided.
Without notifying them.
Because
you did tell them that there's ABCD reasons why you don't want to come back to them.
They know what we agreed, and I verbalized that in that meeting before leaving, that you are negating on these very key issues which we had agreed.
Okay.
And in my view...
Is there a reason why, because this is a collective issue, and you've said everybody should be, everything should be on the table.
Yes.
Everything should be done at the table. Because some have, I mean, from our sources, the union may be getting one thing from you and one thing from the PS, another thing from the PS. Is there a reason why you went to these talks alone, for example? Some say, you know, the PS,
I was not alone.
The cabinet secretary was a lone ranger in this latest initiative.
I was with the two officers, and the principal secretary was in Arambe House. You know, we have drought, and we have this intergovernmental committee, which is dealing with the drought, and he has been representing the ministry in that committee. As far as I know, the first day he was in that meeting. Therefore, there's nothing unusual.
Okay.
As far as I'm concerned.
Right. I'm coming back to the issues within the CBA and how really you really want to sort out this problem. This again, and I'll have to say it again, many people have talked about whether there's a friction between the minister and the principal secretary. I think mid last year you ordered an audit in the health ministry that came to be known as, later on in the media circles, as the health scandal, still being investigated by the EACC. First, the PS kept you and asked the Treasury to get another auditor and transfer the auditor that was there. That again, many people have seen as, again, showing there's a problem between the principal secretary and the cabinet secretary.
I think it is everybody has a portfolio, and there's responsibilities which are given. As a cabinet secretary, I have my responsibilities, and I do not see this issue of audit is a normal end-year audit of the government, which was carried out. Unfortunately, we got into the problem.
You ordered the audit. You wanted the audit done.
The audit, I did not order that audit. Audit was done as a routine end-year closure.
It was said very clearly, including by Mushere, the auditor, that this came from you, and you ordered this. Are you saying you never ordered this audit?
I never ordered, but I ordered audit in state corporations, which are under my ministry, in writing. Those one I did.
Why did you order it? And have you achieved anything? What did you achieve after ordering?
The ones for the state corporation.
Yes.
We have gotten reports on how they manage the grants which come from central government to those institutions. And since then, the reports have been taken back to those institutions to be able to act on them.
Okay. So you're saying you never, ever ordered anything?
But
you never ordered this?
The one of the ministry.
Yes.
I never ordered.
Because, and you heard when Mushere said, it is you who ordered it.
Well, there are many twists to those stories.
Why would you think he would say that? Why would you think he'd say?
Well, ask him. I wouldn't want to speculate on his thinking.
Okay. Still on that, from some quarters, and I'm sure you've heard it because you talked about what has been in the media. And I'm sure you've heard that some quarters have accused you of leaking the audit report to the media.
That one I didn't do.
Come across that.
I have seen that in the gutter press.
Not the mainstream media.
Not the mainstream media.
Okay. So, in other words, you're telling me there's no problem between you and the
Principal Secretary?
As far as I'm concerned,
and I want to state here to you, during the press conferences I held during that time, if you followed carefully, I was on the side of my Principal Secretary. All the time.
Okay. And is it still your, I mean, do you still believe
still
that nothing happened?
Still my belief.
There was no misappropriation or anything?
No. As far as I'm concerned, we had some financial irregularities, but not actual misappropriation of funds in the real terms, the way it came to the media. Okay, but those are, okay, the SEC is looking into that. You have no problem then working with your PS, that's what you're telling us. Absolutely
not. But on
not.
this latest issue, when you've told us that you have to do everything necessary to ensure the doctor's strike ends.
That's my responsibility.
That is your responsibility, including looking at the CBA.
Correct.
So if the Principal Secretary says, because he has said it, that the CBA should not be part of it, he is wrong.
At least he has not verbalized that to me.
But he has verbalized that. I mean, it has been recorded in the media. He has talked to the doctors.
What we know about that
I'm just asking you, by him saying that, is it wrong or right?
There's one thing you should understand. There was a judgment of court. The court did indicate the action for us to take is to be able to look at that document, embrace the views of SRC, and bring county governments on board. And within that, SRC was to pronounce itself on Appendix A, which it has since done so in terms of the job evaluation which has come out. And therefore, we were to take that advice of SRC, supplant it on Appendix A, and see whether we can reach an agreement with the doctors. That's the position.
So, so now we're back into this stalemate. Is there anything you plan to offer to the doctors? And how really are you going, how do you really want to end this?
Actually, I'm open to discussions. And I'm going to call them still to the table. To be able to gain traction, because we had gone up to page 10. In fact, Article 1 to Article 3, we were almost completing. And the only article which was remaining is about the remuneration. I'm going to call them to the table to continue with the discussions, hopefully to conclude them before Thursday. As you know, there's a case which is coming, and it's not our wish to see escalation of the same issue, so that we can end it. So do you have any offer? I think they have their demands in the CBA. Do you have any offer? Their demands on the CBA, as far as I'm concerned, I've always said we shall look at their demands against the law and Public Service Commission recommendations. That goes back to the same position. No, it doesn't go back to the same position. I think, with all fairness, as a government, we have tried to meet their demands almost halfway. If we look at that document, and today we published Appendix A, vis-a-vis, if you look at the allowances in that appendix and the allowances which we have already given them, the difference is 42,000 shillings. So we have made a lot of ground. Secondly, what we are talking about is the salary bands, which have been enhanced by SRC. And that is what we were praying the doctors can be able to sit around to see the recommendation of SRC and see how far they were not okay with that. With all due respect, they were not okay with that, and that is why we're in this position. They were not okay with what SRC did. You see, that is why they had this. Forgetting, but my question, they haven't given opportunity to sitting down to scrutinize that document. The word which brought them to the table was implement. This document as it is, as it was signed in 2013. That is not possible. Finally, for example, doctors have said the timelines can be relaxed, and I'm sure they told you that. I mean, in the discussions, that's what we're getting from the Doctors Union. Still, my question, because they talked about their basic salary. This is important to them because of the benefits and the benefits they get
the pension and the health benefits or insurance. So my question to you, is there any offer you have in terms of the basic salary against the CBA? Because you've said you don't want this to go up to Thursday. It's only 4 days to Thursday or 3 days to Thursday.
My view,
do you have any offer?
The traction of the discussions we are going to have, they must relax their position in terms of what you have seen in the paper today. They have not given an alternative figure which can engage in discussions. That's my view.
But have you?
We have given them.
Which one?
The ones you have seen in the paper. We have given them, they have refused.
We have not seen anything except a 40% that was talked about, but this was about, this was allowances really, it wasn't even about salary.
I think what you need to do is to interrogate the job evaluation of SRC.
Which they are against.
No, being against is not the question. We must all abide by the law.
Okay.
SRC is a constitutional body. It has to advise all of us. If we are going to operate outside the advice of constitutional bodies, then we are not using the law to be able to conduct our business.
Okay.
And therefore, my suggestion to the doctors is to come round the table with a view of embracing, because these are our organizations, the Public Service Commission, SRC, county governments have to ascribe to whatever we agree because they employ 90% of these doctors.
Okay, Waziri.
I am willing, and I'm going to call them around that table. I hope this time they will not negate on what we agree the following day, so that we can be able to take this discussion and be able to alleviate the suffering of Kenyans.
Sadly, Kenyans are still suffering, and sadly, the stalemate clearly persists. But thank you so much, Dr. Cleopa Mailu. Wish you all the best in tackling this. Thank you for making time for us. And Nairobi Governor Evans Kidero has expressed confidence